May as well go ahead and so we're not here till 2 in the morning working on this.
Again, so I'm back working 2 jobs, 2 full-time jobs.
Welcome, Earthlings, to the latest episode of the Recap It Film Buffs podcast. I'm your host, Dan Sellers, along with my psycho killer co-host, Mr.
Psycho. Maybe I'm a slasher killer or Sammie Castle.
We are here today to talk about the 40-year-old classic horror film. 40-year-old.
40.
Yeah. Halloween. John Carpenter's Halloween. We'll get into that in just a minute. We are kind of in the middle of Halloween here, and the day this episode drops, it'll be October 19th, the day that the new Halloween is released as well.
A remake.
I am so excited for that. So what's new? We just filmed our first night of production on Countdown to Midnight, which I'm very excited about. Which is a pseudo sequel, I guess, to Midnight Shift. I kind of just want to say sequel to make it clean and clear, but at the same time, it's not. It's got nothing to do with Midnight Shift, really. It's just the same character.
Well, yeah, but I mean, there's Halloween 3 is not is a sequel.
That's right.
But it has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with it. So it went really well. It was a very late night of production.
The continuing adventures of Reverend Obadiah.
The Chronicles. Yeah, it was.
Nice, short, sweet night.
Yeah, it went by pretty quick.
But it also gives us. We got to work with the robot some, so we know
that's
how.
So cool,
yeah, so we know how that's gonna look and
be.
Yeah. Now we've got some stuff to look at before we film the big stuff November 10th. So.
Yeah, guys, we need extras. November 10th in Greensboro, the Masonic Temple downtown. We will be shooting the bulk of Countdown to Midnight, and we need a bunch of extras. We've gotten a lot of people interested so far, but we need people to bridge the gap from being interested to showing up on the day and time, wearing all black, and ready to work hard and put your face out there. And I don't like to use the term background extra, because really for something like this, you're not really background. You're more of a featured extra. I mean, it really depends on what you put into it is what people are going to see. Not saying I'm inviting people to be a showboat and jump in front of the camera in front of our other characters, but if
there are subtle ways to do that.
Yes, there are subtle ways. But if you're noticeable,
I'm a master of subtle ways of getting in front of the camera.
You know what I mean? If you're noticeable, people will notice you. You just have to apply yourself. So I've said that to a couple people. They're like, is there a guarantee I'll be in the film? It's kind of up to you. You got to show up and you got to make it into the shot.
Guarantee I'll be in the film. I've literally driven 2 hours to the first movie we met on.
Yeah.
There was no guarantees anybody was going to show up on anything. And then in hindsight, it was probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have to work around me so much. If I had been up forward and in front of every shot, then I probably never got that role.
And you were in a lot of the shots, but you were in a lot of the shots with 50 other people.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of hard to pick one person out of a large group. So.
Yeah.
But that was a moving group. This will be more of a stationary kind of deal. So I think, if people want to show up and turn the crazy on, I think it'll work. Maybe we'll get lucky and have to tell people to tone it down. I'd rather have to tell people to tone it down than to turn it on. That's hard to do. So we'll see. I'm very excited. If anyone is interested, listening to this, interested in being a part of Countdown to Midnight, being in the film, being seen, being a cult member.
The Cult of Sammie.
The Cult of Sammie.
The Cult of Sammie.
You can...
Because I'll probably be out there leading everybody.
He'll be out there wrangling the cult members.
Get your ass
Email We'll get you the bullhorn. Email us at wreakhavocproductions@gmail.com. Or you just go to our website or our Facebook page, facebook.com. I believe it's Midnight Shift and Countdown to Midnight. We have a little event page there too. You can log on to and let us know that you're going. And like I said, if you got any questions, let us know. We would love to have all of our listeners show up, all two of you. We'd be very happy to have you.
All two of
And
you.
the one guy from Hong Kong. What else should we talk about? How's the haunt season going so far?
Relatively good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's and I'm hearing the same thing across the board with everybody. There's just not enough actors out there.
Yeah.
There's not enough people that want to do this, even to get paid.
Yeah.
It's which we're a voluntary first year, which makes it even harder to get people to show up. So
Are people just lazy now? Do they just not want to come out of the house? If they don't see a big benefit for them, big gain.
I think, now that
Is
you
that
say
what it
that,
is?
I think that's got a lot to do with it.
They don't see the
And
experience itself as the gain.
And I've told Dean this for 3 years now. If y'all go back to making movies,
Yeah.
you will have more people we know what to do with, because everybody wants to be in a movie.
Yeah.
So they'll be down here
Yeah.
trying to get in with you, and
Sure.
you know suck up to you and da 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 da. And, but as long as they're not making movies, it's or they haven't made one in a while, it's tough.
Yeah.
Which again, supposedly we're close. Yeah,
It's not cool.
we've been closed for a long time now.
Yeah.
Supposedly the money's in escrow now.
Well, that's somewhere.
That's a start.
Well, hopefully, I wish you guys good luck with the rest of the season.
I've got some stuff coming up though.
You do?
Yes.
Tell us about it.
I have Backwoods Bubba, Part 3, where I played I play Backwoods. I play Bubba.
Big bubble.
I play Bubba. I have Dark Trepidation 2, which I've been cast in. Luckily, we're having a table read this weekend.
Cool.
And then, no, the other project got canceled or postponed. I was cast as a doctor in a movie called One Night. I think it was almost a web series kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah.
But they were supposed to start shooting Monday. My day wasn't until the 24th, but she suddenly emailed everybody the night before and was like, "Oh, yeah, we're going to postpone this." I don't know what happened.
Yeah, those things happen.
Yeah, it does.
We've had to postpone a few things around here too.
Yes, we have.
I'm so glad that we're on track with Countdown to Midnight, and we're going to get that made, and it's going to be freaking awesome.
Yes.
It's going to be so cool.
Everything we make is awesome.
That's true. So far. We haven't made any turds yet that I know of. I always like to tell people Hank is a turd, but
Hank is a lovable turd.
and that invites people to go, "No, it's really good," and then I feel good about myself. All right, let's look at a movie.
That's not a
start playing
turd
now.
by any definition of the.
Well, what's funny is, and I'm sure we're not going to probably throw a whole lot of knowledge out to listeners of this show that they don't already know, because this movie's fabled at this point.
Has this film had more documentaries made about it than any other? There's a new one this year.
Well, there's a new podcast out too.
There's Inside Halloween would be really good.
It would be, but someone's already kind of beat him to the punch here.
Oh, right.
It is called, I'll tell you here in just a second, Halloween Unmasked.
Okay.
Which is an 8-part deep dive into Halloween.
Just like Inside, whatever.
By film critic Amy Nicholson. So I just started listening to that tonight. But I will say, I think some people did think this movie was pretty much a big turd without the score, this iconic score.
Yeah, I mean that's.
I wouldn't even try to watch this movie without it. But I think sometimes early screeners they try to get a sense of what the movie's going to be like, and it really does show how important the right music for a film, it makes all the difference.
No, for this one it did.
Especially this one, yeah.
Because it's become, when you think of movie soundtracks, iconic ones, Star Wars, Jaws, Harry Potter,
John Williams.
it's all John Williams. this is the one. This is millions of people's ringtones. It's done by the director.
You know what I think one of the reasons it's so effective is it's simple. It's not. There's not too many variations on this theme throughout the film. There's a few, but it's a simple score and it's very effective. Haddonfield, Illinois is a fictional town. I think Deborah Hill is from
Haddonfield, New Jersey.
New Jersey, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the film opens up Halloween night, 1963. I love the way this film opens. We get a first-person POV look, so it's the early 60s, and this kid, and we are the kid at this point.
Yes.
We're seeing everything through his eyes. His sister's getting ready to go have sex for a very short amount of time. Very short. Mm-hmm. This is yeah. Obviously teenagers. That's all I can say. And Michael doesn't take too kindly to this.
There have been 6 Halloween documentaries made.
Screw it, let's make another one.
And I think there's 7 because I think Matt and Sue at Halloween Film Festival are debuting another one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Next weekend after next.
Shout out to the Halloween International Film Festival in Philadelphia Hills. They are awesome. Very cool people.
Wish we had something to send them this year.
I wish we did too. But
I hate missing it.
Yeah, I do too. But just down the road from them at the CC Motel, they'll be screening Hank versus the Undead and Hank versus Dracula back to back.
Oh yeah.
This next weekend, I think.
Yeah, that's cool.
I sent a midnight show too, and they were like, "It's okay. We don't."
Again,
we like the more family friendly ones.
I bet they've got kids, and then you got a priest saying "fuck," and that C word.
Yeah.
I can only imagine the woman at Glass Tulip screening that movie.
What?
And going and literally jumping.
No.
Okay. Anyway, back to Halloween. Okay, so this predominantly is known as the first POV killer kind of thing, but it's not.
Yeah, right? I'm sure it's not.
Well, I think some of the giallos used it.
Yeah.
But it's miscredited as being the first slasher, which it's not.
Yeah.
Black Christmas is.
Oh no, that's not the first. Well, hell, Texas Chainsaw, which I don't know if you technically call a slasher. It's pretty much.
I think Black Christmas is kind of among horror historians is kind of the first slasher. But
no other slasher film had been nearly as successful as Halloween, though. You know what I mean?
No.
Up until '78, and to make it all even more successful, when you look at a film that had a $300,000 budget, which then grossed $47 million, which I don't even know what the hell that would be today's standards. Pretty good, though.
I saw something.
I'd say probably 3 times it.
I think it was 150 million.
That's pretty amazing.
And ironically, 2 guys named Chris today had a trivia question about highest percentage over what it cost. Mm-hmm. No, it was what horror movie was made for $480,000 or something like that, which I don't think is right. I think I read somewhere it was $300,000 for this, and grossed 47 million. You know, what was that percentage or something like that? And Halloween had it for a long time, and it was also the highest grossing independent film for years until Blair Witch.
I was about to say, I remember when Blair Witch came out, hearing that Blair Witch was the movie that
It blew it away.
And then I think Paranormal Activity unseated.
Yeah.
Blair Witch,
which ended up being the movie with the greatest percentage over what they.
So I'm waiting for the next.
It was like $90,000 to make and grossed 85 million or something like that.
Yeah. So that means Hollywood is due for another movie, Sammy. You and me, we're gonna make the next big
paranormal. We're gonna make the next.
We're gonna make the next big franchise. Halloween, Blair Witch,
Midnight.
Yeah,
the Chronicles of Obadiah.
The Obadiah Chronicles. It's gonna be a huge blockbuster. All right, so now we're seeing Donald Pleasance. Have you ever noticed in a lot of the films that do have this kind of success that they tend to get somebody with a little bit more of a stature kind of guy? You know what I mean? He's definitely the guy in this film. And I'd also seen another figure where it was $300,000 budget, but then I also heard they had an additional $25,000 just for him in his 5 days on the set.
5 days and 18 total minutes he's on screen. That's it. 18 minutes. But you think of him being all the way through this movie.
Yeah.
He carries such a presence about him.
He does.
One of my favorite things, little tidbits about this is the connection with Hitchcock and Psycho, and the name, the Loomis, the Sam Loomis name, and how that was Janet Leigh's boyfriend's name.
Yeah.
In Psycho.
Samuel Loomis.
Yep.
In Psycho.
And then of course Jamie Lee Curtis is Janet Leigh's daughter. I love that little tie.
And then they turn around and scream, and one of the killers' name is Loomis.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love this character, Dr. Loomis. He's so on edge from the get-go. I mean, even before they know the prisoners have escaped, just the fact that they're getting ready to transport Michael Myers, he's freaked out by it. He's already armed. You know.
I missed that weird little 70s
little cue.
Sounded like $6 Million Man or something.
I'm wondering if any of that's going to be in the new movie.
I doubt it.
Well, it's the same composer, John Carpenter.
Yeah.
It might be. He may have a little, retro twist to it.
Could be, I guess. But what you don't think about, Loomis is on edge because he's dealt with Michael all these years, and he's figured out long before anybody else that this guy is just not.
Well, he's got
pure evil.
This famous line here, which is a little over the top, but
the one with the sheriff later on. Oh,
the evil is gone.
Oh yeah,
the evil is gone. He's so over the top. But he totally believes it too.
Yeah.
It's not just words to him. He truly believes Michael Myers is the evil incarnate, and he feels comfortable saying that after having treated him for 15 years, whatever.
This is a lesson to filmmakers. Here you have Haddonfield, Illinois, at the end of October, with all the trees with leaves on top. Because this was actually filmed in California.
Early spring.
But they need leaves.
Yeah.
So they went and collected leaves and painted them to look like fall leaves.
Yeah. Scattered them about,
and then picked them all back up.
Put them in the same bag.
To do it to the next shot. Filmmakers, if you want to make a good film, put forth some effort.
Yeah.
you always, all these iconic movies, you always hear about something like this where they had budgetary constraints,
Yeah.
and that's what they had to do. See, there's no leaves in this, and oh wait, there's some over on the corner.
Well,
they just took them and just threw them out.
I was reading. I think it was in Fangoria, the new issue, where I think maybe it was Carpenter was visiting the set, and he was just blown away by the mountain of leaves that they had, and they also had the big vacuum thing that could just suck them up, and they could shoot them back out wherever they needed. And we're like, God, why didn't we have this 40 years ago? But it's also, I mean, you got palm trees in the background if you look hard enough. But it's also people were wearing jackets. They're talking about carving jack-o'-lanterns. There's a little bit of suspension of disbelief here.
Oh yeah.
Even if it doesn't look like fall necessarily. The fact
in
that
1978, nobody probably paid any attention to that whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or even into the 80s when I actually saw it.
And just the fact that that it tells you it's October 31st. You're supposed to,
The creepy Myers house.
Yeah.
In the middle of.
Start skipping ahead a little bit. This is Jamie Lee Curtis's first feature film. I don't know how to skip ahead on this thing here. We're streaming it off of off of Shudder, so.
I was trying to say, just skip.
And I think she was only like 18 in this, or 17 in real life.
Yeah, she was the only high school age
of
the girls. All the rest of them were older.
So now, she's like, what, 58?
Something like that. Yeah. Reprising her role with pretty much the same hair.
Yeah. It's a wig, but
it's literally
it's pretty similar.
Yeah, very similar. There's been some great Halloween memes over the past couple months. The one of Michael standing behind her when she's in the True Lies. I love that meme.
Oh my God, I loved that movie growing up, and mainly because of that scene.
True Lies. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Well, now part of the reason I loved this movie growing up was PJ Souls. Mm-hmm. That was the second set of boobs I ever saw.
When I was like 10, I bought a double feature VHS pack that had Halloween and Prom Night. And I watched them back to back. They're both so freaking good. Yeah. And Prom Night doesn't get as much credit. It's really great.
Mm-hmm. It is kind of the forgotten 70s.
It's a solid mystery on top of, this is a good slasher film, but Prom Night is a good slasher film plus a good, mystery on top. You don't know who the killer is, and it matters. But in this, we know who the killer is. We don't understand his motives. We don't, he's just there. I think that's one thing that's kind of special about this iteration of Michael Myers is we don't need to know why he's evil or how crazy he is, what type of crazy he is.
Yeah.
Well, the daughter knows.
This gets to, and he reiterates over and over and over.
Because no one believes him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because just like the movie, this is the first time this little quaint little town has had to deal with something like that. This is almost a small town personification of Manson or Gacy was post this, wasn't he?
I don't think so.
Was he before
I think
this?
He was 60s and 70s. Yeah.
Okay, so Gacy, some of those killers that the rest of the world had known.
Yeah.
But not necessarily this small little town.
Use that truck.
Oh, that would have been perfect. I just logged on to Instagram and saw somebody sitting on the back of a truck that was like, oh, I want to see what the front looks like.
So I read, in doing a little bit of research, that a lot of the dialogue between the teenage girls was written by Deborah Hill just because John Carpenter could not get teenage dialogue into the script, and Carpenter really focused more on Dr. Loomis's, you know, his dialogue and the sheriff and that kind of stuff, and let Deborah Hill do the most of the other. Writing for Michael Myers is pretty easy. Doesn't really have a whole lot.
I have a place for that. I forgot my chemistry book. So who cares?
Nerd.
Some these are some 70s girls here too.
One thing I do appreciate about this film that no one really seems to ever remember: Michael Myers never runs. You never see Michael Myers run ever, but he does drive a car. It's pretty cool. But you know,
And the only serial killer that does, or I mean,
I can't think of anybody that's ever.
Jason hasn't.
You've never seen Freddy Krueger,
And he can hear really, really well. Because she just said.
apparently, yeah.
Yeah.
He's
halfway down the street and she's like fussing at him.
Speed kills.
And he slams on his brakes at the perfect time.
You know, Annie, someday you're going to get us all into deep trouble.
Yeah, Annie.
I hate a guy with a car and no sense of humor.
What a good line.
So let's talk a little bit about the iconic mask for anyone listening who's not familiar with it. It was originally a rubber William Shatner mask or a Captain Kirk mask that they bought in a store for about $1 and cut the eyebrows off. It had like furry eyebrows and did some stuff to it. They painted it white. And that's it. Very simple. But it just kind of has this blank expression. I mean, just kind of what you might imagine Michael Myers has underneath. It's just nothing.
Did you know that they went to the store and picked up 2 masks?
No, I didn't know that.
They picked up 2 masks that day.
Oh, yeah.
The first one was a clown mask.
Yeah. To have a little bit of continuity with the original scene. Yeah, I did hear that. I thought you meant two Captain Kirk masks.
No, two masks.
Different styles.
Yep. And to have some continuity with the first, they picked up a clown mask, and the guys were like, "Oh my god, that's creepy as hell." Until they put the Shatner mask on, they were like, "No, that's fucking creepy."
What kind of world would we be living in today had they picked the clown mask? Totally different world. A different cover here of Fangoria that we're looking at.
Jason would have been traumatized much earlier because Poltergeist wasn't until a couple years later.
Yeah. But it's so funny over the years. It seems like every film in the Halloween series, the mask is different.
Oh yeah.
They cannot seem to get it right.
Yeah.
And it's very simple. Just especially when you see
the new
shots
one looks good.
back to back. The new one looks great.
The new one looks good.
It looks like you could believe it's the same mask. Just it's aged, you know.
70s and dope. Let's smoke a doobie. Because it's the 70s.
Yeah, it's required. He's so high strung.
He's
just looking at Tom Pleasance. He's just like he's looking over his shoulders. He's
looking for evil.
He's ready to shoot at any moment.
Oh, and he pulls that gun every chance he gets, boy. That little bitty revolver.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got a story.
Mm-hmm.
I did not see this in the theater. Obviously, I was only 8.
I didn't either.
You weren't even born yet.
I wasn't born.
But I saw it in the 80s, much later when I got in with the bunch that liked horror movies. And it was one of the first ones they showed me because I got to hanging out with older guys. My first experience with Halloween was the novelization.
Really?
Book, yes. The book.
Do you still have it?
No, I didn't have it then. I borrowed it.
Oh.
And I wish I did.
Yeah.
And I'd love to have a copy. And that's been one of my holy grail things trying to find. It's a novelization written by Curtis Richards. It doesn't followed the movie, so it's kind of not a novelization.
Yeah.
It's the same sort of guidelines. I don't know. I don't know that it came out right before it or right after it, or it's kind of weird how
I
it
hear
did.
it gives a lot of backstory.
Yeah, it gives a lot of backstory. Well, my friend Mark Walton had it, and Mark was 4 years older than me or something like that, 3 or something. And he had a copy, and he loaned it to me, and I read it, and I was enthralled. So then I had to see the movie. That book is just a paperback. It was never released in hardback. I think Bantam did it, but it's been out of print since the first run.
I was about to say, you'd be hard pressed to find one now if you wanted to.
If you find one online,
Make some money.
it's the cover. It's normally the cover. It's not the icon. There's two different covers. There's the iconic pumpkin, half pumpkin head face or whatever. But the other one is a tall figure with a white sheet and a pumpkin head, and a holding a knife. But if you find one, it's normally that copy, and they run anywhere between $80 and $200.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you can't find them. They're damn near impossible to find.
Damn.
So that's my dream, is to walk into a used bookstore one
And
day
find it.
Yeah. And I wonder if Mark still has his copy. Because I would love that. That book is what's got me on my fascination with novelizations, especially old '80s paperback novelizations with the pictures and all that kind of stuff. But that was my first experience with Halloween. Was with that, and the ending is the same, where he falls off the balcony, and I think in the book though the girl goes over and she looks down. And she sees him, and then she walks downstairs, and he's gone.
Oh, okay.
So it's pretty much the same ending.
Yeah.
But you didn't see it coming because you thought everything, unlike this, where they pump up how he's evil, how he's a personification of evil, da 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 da. In the book, it's more he's just a guy. So when that guy leaves after being shot and thrown off a balcony and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, that's pretty creepy. And he lands on a concrete pad, I think.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I read that book, but I'd love to go. I'd love to have a copy. I'd love to read it again.
So what is this big news? What would you say if I told you that you were going to the homecoming dance tomorrow night?
Setting somebody up.
I'm watching this. I'm so freaking excited for the new Halloween to see the progression of Laurie Strode from this 17-year-old girl who's so innocent and nerdy, and she's the only one who's not having sex. She's actually taking care of kids, to this.
But you know, that's John Carpenter and Deborah Hill both say that was not their intentions whatsoever.
Oh, I know. That's not what they were going for. Is,
yeah.
That she survives because she didn't have sex. But I'm just saying, she's a very sweet kid.
Yeah.
To this woman who is still traumatized by what happened to her and has taken control of her life in this really kind of messed up way where she's armed to the teeth. She's ready for battle.
I hope they don't turn her into Ripley though.
I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I think. I have high hopes for this new one. I think it's.
I have tremendous high hopes again, but again with and there's nothing wrong with it with the whole women power thing right now, and then them getting their due and that kind of stuff is great, but I hope they don't take her the way of Ripley, where she's just a complete badass. Just kicking Michael all over the place.
Well, I think even
kind of like Busta Rhymes in H2O.
But I think Ripley, if you look at her in Aliens, at the end of Aliens, she's a real badass, and it's just out of necessity. It's either kill or be killed sort of
Yeah.
deal. And I think that's kind of what we have with Laurie Strode. And, you know, she even shows here in this one that she's got the capacity.
her. But they're portraying her in the trailers and stuff as being Michael-esque in the fact that she can't be beat. You know,
Oh,
you don't ever see her with a scar, a bloody nose, or where he's
Oh,
attacked her.
I think she's probably going to die. I would imagine.
I would think so too.
I don't think she can be beat. If anything, I think she is the modern equivalent of Dr. Loomis. She's the one going around telling everyone he's fucking evil. He can't be beat.
I hope so.
We have to do something, and no one's listening to her.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming maybe her granddaughter is more like
Her role.
like Lori in the original.
I mean, I hope that's the way it turns out.
I think that's where they're going.
And I have high hopes for it too.
Yeah,
I love Howard Hawks.
I think that's where they're going.
A Howard Hawks production.
How cool is it that they're watching the thing? Was it the thing from outer space that John Carpenter's 4 years later will remake into one of the greatest horror films ever?
Is it 82?
Let me see. No, I didn't write it down. I wrote a list.
It's 84.
It's
Something like that.
just a few years later he makes The Thing, and I would argue The Thing may be one of the greatest horror films, maybe better than this. I don't know. They're so different. Since we brought it up
Halloween, Jaws, The Thing, The Exorcist.
Yeah.
That's
and about as good as it gets.
probably Friday the 13th. It's probably
Well, you know me, I'm
top
throwing Evil
5.
Dead in there too.
Oh, yeah. Well, I am. Never mind. We'll get into that later.
Since we brought up John Carpenter, let's talk about him for a little bit. Before this, he had Assault on Precinct 13, which I liked a lot.
An action movie.
Yeah, an action film, yeah. Which I think he wrote, directed, and did the score for, just like this one. And then we had this one in '78, and The Fog, I believe, was '80.
I think so too.
Which The Fog
Adrian
holds up.
Barbeau.
I think the whole Fog. I watched it last week.
Holds up. Does it hold up?
I watched it last week. I liked it a lot.
Oh, real. I mean, it's a good movie.
I enjoyed it. Then we had
Barbeau.
Escape from New York, which I like. I like
Action.
how cheesy it is and fun and stupid and
Yep.
Which we have Donald Pleasance in again playing the president of the United States, and
The indomitable Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell, freaking Isaac Hayes, a movie which they keep threatening to remake. With I think the last I heard, Robert Rodriguez was looking at remaking it, which I just think is just unnecessary.
Yeah.
If you can't,
I don't. Yeah.
if you could definitively do it better and make it more entertaining, I'd say sure, go for it. But I don't know that you can. I don't know that audiences nowadays are going to go for that cheesy story.
Yeah, that's hard to say. I don't know.
Yeah.
Somebody will try it.
Yeah, I mean it'll eventually get done, I'm sure. And then we had The Thing, which is a remake of Howard Hawks' film, which they're watching here in this in Halloween. And then Christine, and
Love that movie.
have you seen the little short film he did last year? The Christine short film?
No.
Yeah.
How
John
did I miss
Carpenter.
this?
I don't know. Let's see if we can pull it up. John Carpenter has done a series of short films in the past several years. He's actually in it.
John Carpenter, Christine. Official music video.
1 year ago. Okay, so this is it. I'm gonna pause this.
It's a music video.
Well, I think it's more of a short film, but it may be. I think it plays more like a music video. So this is the only thing he's directed, these few short films, in years.
I wonder if he did the score for Christine.
Sounds like it.
This does. But I wonder if this is one of his albums
I don't know. Have you heard any of the? Let's see, what's it called? Let me pull it up here.
I love that car. I wish I had a 58 Plymouth Fury. That color, that look. If anybody has one out there for sale.
Have you heard any of the songs off his Lost Themes album he put out a couple years ago?
No, but I heard about the album.
He's been freaking touring with the Lost
Yeah,
Themes, which is pretty cool.
I heard that too.
All right, I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit just because we're It sounds like a John Carpenter thing from the 80s.
That's a remade. That is in the movie. Yeah, it's a remade. It's cleaner, but it's the same beats there.
Yeah.
And maybe they're just recreating this scene. Maybe he's supposed to be the old version of Keith. What tells his name? Keith something.
I don't know.
And Christine. Keith Gordon. Weird. Take me just a minute.
So there's a couple of these little short films that he's made over the last several years, and that's kind of all he's been up to directing. But I think he's technically an executive producer on the new one, which is cool. And he's doing the score for the new one, so that's awesome. Here's a quick little sample from Lost Themes. This sounds like something straight out of Escape from New York.
It's very 80s.
You could hear this not knowing anything about it and go, that's fucking John Carpenter.
Yep.
Okay, back to Halloween. Maybe. Okay. His new work for on the new Halloween is out there now. The entire score is available, but there's a couple of pieces that are. Maybe we'll play it towards the end of the episode just for our audience to get excited about the new movie.
And it's stuck in the window. Not real sure why Michael locked him in.
Yeah,
to let him get out.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe we're not paying close enough attention, but I was wondering that myself. I watched it the other day.
Yeah, I watched it. Sunday.
Did you?
Yeah, Sunday. They were AMC played all the Halloween movies back.
Oh, man.
And then I think it played all of them up to H2O, and then started back over with Halloween. Promise you won't tell anybody that I've been walking around in my underwear all freaking.
She gets a stain on her shirt. She's like, "Well, I gotta take all my clothes off."
Hey, I don't have a problem.
Which I'm sure, that was for the male audiences of the 70s.
God, look at that old can of popcorn.
Jolly time.
She looks like Sarah Jessica Parker too,
Yeah.
from Dirty Dancing.
Cut it out. It can happen anywhere. Yeah, but I've seen you stuck in plenty of other positions.
Hey.
Ooh, the shape is there in the background.
But not until she turns, though. That's the cool part. Is you keep expecting him to be back there, and he's not until she turns. And when she turns, there it is.
Yeah.
Because you think he's just going to pop up in that side window or something like that. They do a really good job at hiding him, and Dean always teaches actors quick hits. A patron should never see you more than 7 seconds. In, out, in, out, in, out.
Kind of
in,
lose
out.
the mystique there.
Yeah. A of course, there are exceptions to that rule. But the thought process is that even as you're going through the house, you should only be in a room 7 to 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So you're not seeing that character that long anyway.
I think that's a good rule of thumb for life in general.
I can die on a tree as my character if I'm in a room too long.
Yeah.
Well, I had 2 girls on the ropes a couple of weekends ago, and I walked into the tent. I've got my platforms on. I've got my hat on. I mean, I'm huge in that freaking tent.
Yeah.
I've got them petrified. And something happened in the house, and they didn't take the group in. Well, I can't just leave.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm just stuck there. I'm just dying.
They start looking at you too long.
Yeah,
and they get
I'm just
comfortable with you.
dying on the vine, and I'm like,
your
y'all are
friend.
killing me.
That sucks.
Yeah.
I think the 7-second rule is a good rule of thumb for life in general. I think I'm just going to start coming in and out.
Every 7
You don't
seconds.
even want to get sick of it. You know, you want to just. Why is Dan in and out of the room? Is he farting or something? No,
He just keeps running
He just
in and
got
out.
this weird thing.
Yeah. Just ignore it. It's all right.
I spilled butter all over my clothes and in the water.
Speaking of weird things, Sammie, do you see somebody outside the window there?
Oh,
I see. I feel like there's some dude standing in the bushes. It's not just me, is it?
no, I don't think so. You might want to.
Let me go get my.
You might want to go check this
Get
out.
my knife.
And I hope it doesn't last too long. I'm dying. I'm dying here.
Just,
My phone is dying.
oh, your phone is dying?
No, not really, but close.
Take a call or something. I'll be right back.
Okay.
We'll see what this guy
I'm
wants.
dying on the vine. Oh, why did Dan leave me here by myself?
Hello. What are you doing?
This is kind of creepy. Sitting in someone else's house all by my lonesome. Yeah, this is weird. I don't even know that I want to talk about Halloween now because I'm kind of creeped out myself. So if I disappear or you don't hear from me anymore, yeah, come look for me. Okay, let's take a phone call. Recap Film Buzz Podcast.
Hello, Sammie.
Oh, hello.
What's your favorite scary movie?
It depends on what day it is. Halloween.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Jaws.
How about we play a little game?
Oh, Saw.
I've got Dan out in his backyard tied up to a chair.
You do.
You play by my rules and answer the questions. Dan lives.
Okay. I hope
If
the question.
answer's wrong, Dan dies. I'll gut him like a fish.
I hope the questions aren't very hard.
They are very hard. You'll never
Damn.
get these questions.
Okay, but I'll try.
You said you like Jaws, huh?
Yes.
Who directed Jaws?
How many guesses do I get?
You'll never get this one.
Steven Spielberg.
Oh, very good. Okay, you're a horror guy then.
Yes.
Okay. Next question.
Okay.
Say your prayers, Dan. Who was the original killer in Friday the 13th?
Pamela Voorhees.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
How many of these do I have to answer? I'm really good at this now, I think.
I mean, I'm just going to keep asking until I find a reason.
No, don't. I like that.
This one's going to top the cake. You'll never get this one.
Okay.
What was the name of the doll in the Child's Play series?
You mean Chucky?
Shit.
It's 3. It's most everything comes in 3s. So is he free now?
Maybe I'll just cut his ear off or something.
Yeah. Or he's got 2 kids now. Maybe cut that part off.
I like your sense of humor, Sammie.
I see. I got a good one.
One more question, and
Okay.
I'll let him live.
Okay.
What was the name of the killer in Halloween?
Mike Myers?
Wrong!
What?
It's the shape.
It's Mike Myers.
Dead meat.
Oh, damn it. Well, it's gonna. I guess I'm gonna have to finish this by myself then. Okay, so we're at the point in the movie where Annie and Laurie Strode are. I got another phone call. Hang on. Recap Film Buzz podcast. Mr. Gacy? Mr. Bundy? Mr. Shape? That was weird. I don't know.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, Dan? Is that you?
It's me.
I thought you were dead, man.
I made it back. This guy in a ghost face mask grabbed hold of me. inside.
Ghost face.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Well, it's funny. I got a phone call, and
You did?
It was totally not a guy in a ghost face mask.
Well, I ripped off the ghost face mask and it was an ex-girlfriend.
Ah.
Yeah, I mean, usually in the Scream movies.
Okay, well now she did sound like an ex-girlfriend, so
Okay, well, that's-
the call was it. So
She had one of those voice changer things too, and she was making phone calls. I don't know what that was about.
the
But
voice changer?
yeah, it was really weird.
Oh,
So-
I thought that was a real voice.
I dated some freaky girls in my day, but not,
Let me
not one of
tell
those.
ya. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay, let's get back into Halloween.
I thought you were dead. I was just going right back into the podcast.
Okay.
Yeah, I already told him that this is a scene with Andy.
Well,
and
if I
Laurie.
do die on the course of making the podcast, you just don't hesitate. Just
Do we have an accident
steam-
policy for you to die during the podcast? Does the
Well,
podcast then become a millionaire?
The policy is that if I were to die in the course of making the podcast, Chad Hunt will be shipped straight to the show and dropped off in the studio, and we'll just keep on going.
And I still only have 10% of it, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Chad will have 1%.
That's funny. Anyway, Chad, we missed you last night, Chad.
Yeah, we missed you.
Did I tell you he wasn't coming? Did he tell you he wasn't?
He
coming?
sent me a message earlier. I hate that.
We missed you, Chad.
Okay, let's skip ahead a little bit here toward the end. This film's got a pretty tight.
We're missing
running
PJ
time.
Soul's boobs.
Are we?
I wonder if it's on Shutter.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, Shutter's acting a little screwy here. Let me close some of these windows.
18 windows open. Including 5 that stream 24 hours a day. And Pornhub.
I'm a gentleman. I closed it before you came over.
Okay. Well, yeah. Again, this movie was kind of our Pornhub back in the day.
Yeah.
How many times can you watch a scene? The tape broke in
The
this
tape
one
gets
spot.
a little fuzzy on this one
in
section.
one spot.
Like it's been paused over and over. All right, so
Somebody's dying.
her PJ Souls' boyfriend, I can't remember his name, just got stabbed straight through with the longest butcher knife ever, right in his belly, and it just impaled him to the wall.
And that was originally supposed to be somebody famous.
Dennis Quaid, I think,
Dennis Quaid, yeah, because that
who's
was.
her real life boyfriend at
Yep,
the time.
yep.
I think I read that. Yeah.
That's the picture on the front of the book. And on
him wearing the ghost.
Yeah.
So I love how
Cute, Bob, real.
he's a bit. Michael Myers is a bit playful in this film.
Oh yeah.
Than he is in some of the other iterations. I hope that's something they bring back in the new Halloween. Especially in Rob Zombie's Halloween. He's not very playful at all in that. He's not very fun. He's just a killing machine. Very vicious.
What's the matter? Can I get your ghost, Bob?
Oh, PJ.
Depending on the aspect ratio you're watching this in, you may or may not see her nipples.
We had a brief shot.
Yeah.
And it got quiet as we all try to watch. This with the glasses on.
That would be a really cool Halloween costume. Just the sheet and the glasses.
Oh,
You know what I mean? It's simple.
yeah.
How simple is that? And everyone will know that's Michael
Everybody
Myers.
know, yeah, most everybody know.
Yeah.
Dum, 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 dum.
Hello? All right, Annie. First I get your famous chewing, now I get your famous squealing.
Not Annie. And it's just not
You're all
squealing.
right.
And it's not. Weird breathing thing, which you don't get in any of the subsequent movies either.
I'll kill you if this is a joke.
Him breathing through the
Yeah,
mask.
yeah.
He's very quiet in a lot of the other movies, and this one you can hear him grunting and stuff.
And I'd completely forgotten that this is the only film you see his face too. Or at least that I can remember, because I didn't remember it in this one, let alone
Which-
in the rest of them.
I think I've read that there's a handful of people who really played Michael Myers in this, but it's mostly Nick Castle in the mask and in the costume. It's mainly except for when they pull the scene where they pull the mask off, they get another actor to play or just to be the face for that one shot. I don't really understand the thinking behind that, but I don't know, it works. The guy has a creepy look. This film was originally titled The Babysitter Murders, and was the original concept, I believe, was from the executive producer Irwin Yablans. And when he brought it to John Carpenter and Deborah Hill, they ended up writing it and making it, something a little bit more set around Halloween. And it didn't come till later to call it Halloween because, somehow a movie hadn't been made called Halloween up until that point. We got Loomis hanging out outside the home, acting all creepy. Sees his car that got stolen. It's like, son of a bitch. What if my rollies are still in the glove box?
Day. All right, so another side story.
All right.
But also related to Halloween. So the first person to actually put on the mask is a stuntman named Jim Winburn, who I met in at a crap. I probably talked about it on the podcast before. This crappy little horror fest in It's supposed to have been in Martinsville, Virginia. Ended up in
it was
yeah.
the Martinsville.
The Martinsville,
Horror.
the infamous Martinsville Horror Con that ended up in Rocky Mount.
Yeah.
But still was called Martinsville Horror Con.
Yeah.
They got moved like 3 weeks before we were supposed to go or something like that. So anyway.
Yeah.
So Sunday I am we're sharing a table with Dean's. First time he and I had worked a convention together. And he's holding court. He's got all these people standing around talking to him. There's a guy there who's a horror movie historian who knew exactly who he was, and they're talking. And so I just kind of wandered over to the side, and I turned around, and Jim is standing right beside of me. Another one of my infamous, hey, there's a famous person standing right beside of me. So I was like, well, hey, how are you today? And he said, good, how are you? So my go-to thing is to not talk about their big stuff because they talk about it all the time. I normally lead with, hey, what are you doing now? And he's actually directing the Blue Man Group in Vegas.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's gone into directing. He's kind of got, he's well too old for stunt work and stuff like that.
Yeah, I remember meeting him very briefly, and he would seem
Oh yeah, because you're
pretty
there
old.
Sunday, yeah.
Pretty old.
And he did this. He worked on Tron. You know, he was a pretty famous stuntman at the time.
Yeah.
And he did a little panel about Halloween and stuff like that. But
That's cool.
he a really good guy, and he talked about Blue Man Group, and that led into a story of him being on the set of Shane. How Jack Palance couldn't ride a horse.
Shane's such a good movie.
Yeah, and that he was literally he said that iconic scene where he pops up on a horse and is sitting there all proud and everything. He says, I'm holding his leg on the other side so he don't fall off the horse.
That's funny.
Which is not credited. He wasn't he was just working on set. I think he was a gopher or something. He's not even listed in Shane, or even as a stuntman, but he was pretty young too.
Well, speaking of Michael Myers playing games with people, he's set up this little weird tableau for Laurie to find, where he's got his sister's grave on the bed with her dead
Tombstone.
friend. Yeah, tombstone, and he staged a couple of other dead bodies for her to find.
But you know, they show the gravesite, and he's actually dug her grave up. What did he do with that?
I don't think he dug the grave. I think he just dug the stone out.
No,
Took the stone out.
It's the whole grave is dug up.
Well, I had to go back and look. I think it was just the stone. He got pulled out.
Well, then it's the way they shot it then, because I thought it was the whole thing. But anyway,
I'm trying to find. I was reading
were you
this.
going somewhere with this?
No, I just think it's funny that he's not just
He's morbidly playful.
yeah, he's not just someone who wants to kill. He wants to fuck with her too. You know, he wants to scare her.
But
I mean, that's part of the mask too. If he wanted to just kill her, he'd just go out and kill her. He wants to.
he's almost still that 8-year-old, or 28 when he killed her. I think that's right.
Something around that, yeah.
Yeah, he's still, maybe in his mind, he's still that 8-year-old who just wants someone to play with.
Yep. Yeah, I'm thinking
With
you're right.
knives and sharp things.
Yeah.
Now, I'm glad that they did not go the way of Jason or Freddy, or any of these 80s slashers where they kill with all these different things.
Yeah.
It's always the butcher knife.
Yeah.
Or strangling, or some sort of physical.
Well,
he didn't
you
use
know,
a weapon.
In Halloween 2, he used a couple of different things. I think he stabbed someone in the eye with a needle. He drowned somebody. There's a couple of things, but iconically, when you think of Michael Myers, you think butcher knife.
Yeah.
Got some good butcher knife story. I'll tell you off the air.
Okay. Gotcha.
So we talked a little bit about it. Let's talk about the Halloween series, the franchise. So we have obviously this one in '78, and then in 1981 we have Halloween 2, that is, I believe, written and produced by John Carpenter, and he did the score, but he didn't direct it.
Tommy Wallace didn't he?
I don't think so. I think Tommy Wallace did Season of the Witch, Halloween
Okay.
3. Tommy Wallace, the production designer and editor of Halloween, directed Halloween 3. So I like Halloween 2. I think it's an underrated sequel.
It is, and I mean, it rolls right. It is
It's
a
the same
direct
night, yeah.
sequel, yes.
It's the same night, and it's just a continuation. And when she gets taken to the hospital, Michael Myers follows her to the hospital and
Which
tries
makes
to-
sense.
He kills pretty much everybody there, so ups the body count significantly in the second one.
But now, you hear a lot about the fact that he hasn't, in the pantheon of killers, he's not killed a lot.
Yeah.
But at the beginning of this movie, they talk about how he killed 12 people to get to. Is 12 people to get to, or maybe it's somewhere they talk about him killing 12 people to get to something. To get.
Oh, I don't remember that. In my thinking, he's only killed 5 people so far. He's killed his sister, the guy where he got his car and got the suit, and the 3 kids. He tries to kill her.
God, I could have swore. Like a sheriff or something.
Maybe it's in one of the sequels where they mention it.
I think. Yes, it was at the beginning of 4.
Okay. Halloween 4: The Return of Michael Myers.
Yes, it's the beginning of 4 because that's the one with the little boy and the blonde
Danielle
girl.
Harris, right?
Yeah, Danielle Harris. Yeah.
Yeah.
At the beginning of that, when Loomis comes in, he says, they tell him that the sheriff's retired. And he says, "Well, you may not remember me." And everybody's like, "Oh," he's like, "Oh yeah, everybody remembers who you are."
Yeah.
And he says, "Well, Michael's back," and somebody asked who he is, and he said, "Well, he killed 12 people trying to get to Laurie Strode."
So maybe that's counting the body count in Halloween 2.
Maybe so.
Well, that was 1998. Halloween 4: Return of. Let's talk about Season of the Witch real quick. They were trying to take the Halloween franchise in a totally different direction, to do it almost like an anthology thing where each film would be a different story, different set of characters, which is a cool idea. But you don't need a film series to do it. You had the Twilight Zone, you had shows like that had a different. Tales from the Crypt is a perfect example that came years later. But I think I like what they were trying to do with it, but. Once you've already had such success with one thing, it's hard to change gears and do something different. So, Halloween 3 is it's fun.
It's a good movie.
I like it. I enjoy it. But I think audiences didn't really care for the lack of Michael Myers. So he got brought back 6 years later for Return of Michael Myers, Part 4. And then there's Part 5 the following year. Which I think those two are more closely linked together as sequels than any of the other ones.
Yeah.
Well, Halloween 2, obviously. Then we have a big gap.
And made Danielle Harris a Scream Queen.
Yes,
way
for
before,
life.
Yeah.
And then we have The Curse of Michael Myers, which came out in 95 as Part 6.
Not a good movie.
Yeah, starring Paul Rudd.
I watched part of that this weekend too.
It's still
It's
bad.
like, I forgot Paul Rudd was in there. I was like, oh, look at the young Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
It's amazing how many of these famous actors have started off in
I know,
in these
horror
80s horror movies.
like Leprechaun.
Jennifer
Stuff like
Aniston,
that.
Kevin Bacon in Friday the 13th, and Johnny Depp in Nightmare on Elm Street. And some of the biggest.
Then you have Halloween H2O 20 years later in 1998.
The Return of Jamie Lee Curtis.
I remember liking a lot at the time, and I've seen it a couple times since then. I think it's okay. I don't think it's going to be nearly as good as the new one, but
I hope it's not.
I think it's it's
I mean, it's not terrible.
it's
but I hope
okay.
it's not.
Yeah, it's just nothing really special. I think that one's directed by Stephen Meyer too, the guy who's behind some of the Friday the 13th movies. Then Halloween Resurrection, which came out in 2002. And I remember seeing this once and thinking, this is really bad. I really wish I hadn't seen it.
That's the Busta Rhymes one. The one where they're playing a TV crew and
So
they're doing a documentary about Michael Myers, who then appears.
I think they're like ghost hunters or something, and they've set up cameras in the Myers house or some shit like that. And maybe I need to go back and rewatch it, but I've seen it once and remember it being bad and just didn't want to.
I mean, it was
there.
okay, but you got Busta Rhymes freaking karate kicking Michael Myers.
Yeah, we don't need that.
No.
And so then we had a complete series reboot in 2007 with Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Which I haven't revisited in a while, but I like that movie.
Oh, I did too.
I think, when everybody was killing it, I said, Rob did the best he could with what he had to work with. I mean, he made a good movie. I don't particularly like the idea of having to know why.
Explore the background.
Yeah. I don't need to know why Vader's Vader. I don't need to know why the Joker's the Joker. It's just bad.
Yeah.
So I didn't particularly care for that, but it's a well-made movie.
Well, and we've talked about this on the show before too. Is my thinking on it is, if you're going to remake it or reboot it, what are you going to do different? And if you're just going to tell the story of the night of Halloween, which is Halloween, you don't need to do that. I like that he goes into a different direction and makes. Basically, it's two films. First half is the backstory, and the second half is Halloween.
Yeah. With a wonderful Malcolm McDowell.
Yes.
Yeah, as Dr. Loomis.
A very different take on Dr. Loomis. So again, at least he did something different, which is cool. I mean, there's not a whole lot of room for growth in the Halloween movies, so at least we did something different. Then we had Halloween 2, the Rob Zombie follow-up in 2009.
Which I have never seen.
You've never seen it?
Nope. I don't know why. I guess because it got so panned quick. I never bothered.
I liked it better than the first one.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Joan's in it.
Yeah, I knew that.
She
was whipping out pictures last night.
I'm going to spoiler alert, because I don't care. But it's a 10-year-old movie. But spoiler alert, Joan gets her eyes cut out by Michael Myers, which is pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
Really early on in the film. She gets killed along with an Oscar-winning actress by Michael Myers in the first few minutes of the movie. I'm not going to spoil it for you.
Okay.
But very different film than the first reboot. It's a different tone, different style. It's darker. It's sadder. It definitely looks at Laurie in the few years after the night she's attacked in this as someone who's very much battling with being a victim. She's got a lot of mental distress from what happened to her, and still has a lot of physical scars. And so does Danielle Harris's character from the first one. And so it's
That's still
underrated.
Scout Taylor Compton?
Yes.
Playing. Okay.
It's underrated. Okay, now we have here. He's been shot 5 times, 6 times by Dr. Loomis.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's iconic little back and forth.
What's the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, it was.
And
Let me look at my handiwork.
yeah. Nope. Psych, he's gone. Spoiler
Spoiler.
for a 40-year-old movie.
Son of a bitch. I know I should have practiced
I
my
remember he
aim.
falls onto a concrete patio in the book.
In the book, yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think? What do you think Loomis is thinking? Is he looking around thinking, did I actually hit him?
No.
Or is he thinking, damn it,
This
is he just that crazy he can push himself past this? And
I think he's thinking, "Oh, I've severely even underestimated him.
Yeah.
Even I've underestimated him."
underestimated him. I like how this film ends with his breathing through the mask. It's so
Yeah.
fucking creepy.
And point of views,
Yes.
which has now become a whole other genre all to itself.
Yeah. It's Halloween. And so, and now we have the latest Halloween film, which is just called Halloween again, which I think people are just going to call it Halloween 2018.
And Annie is played by Nancy Loomis.
Yes, Nancy Loomis. I read a story where they were originally going to open up the new Halloween film immediately after this one ends and show Dr. Loomis getting killed.
Oh, really?
But then they've changed it. So, but it's
Jim Winburn.
yeah. It's written by Danny McBride and David Gordon Green and directed by David Gordon Green, who are both North Carolina School of the Arts alumni. So that's pretty cool. Made in Charleston. Mm-hmm. Our friend Robin, who was in Midnight Shift, plays a Haddonfield deputy. Mm-hmm. She was in it.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
That is cool.
I'm excited about that. She's told me a few spoiler things that I think is pretty awesome.
Well, again, Matt and those guys are fairly close to Charleston, being on the coast, and they were down on set a lot. Mm-hmm. And I think got in some background stuff, and I was following all the casting calls because
were you?
one of the groups I'm a part of was casting the background and that kind of stuff. And there was a couple times I was like, I could drive down there.
Yeah, could go down just for the day.
Yeah, but it was in the middle of opening the store, and I just couldn't.
I'm so excited for this. I don't know when I'm going to get a chance to see it, but as soon as I humanly can.
That's Chad and Jeff and I are going to try to get to it.
Play a little bit of the score here from the new Halloween film. So you can already tell it's a little different. Mm-hmm. This is not the theme, but it's just one of the. So that's going to wrap up our discussion on Halloween. You got any final thoughts on the film here? It's maybe top 5.
Oh, without a doubt,
Yeah,
top 5.
Absolutely.
Top 5 of all time.
Yeah.
If for some godforsaken reason you have not seen this movie, please
Stop what you're doing.
I'm pretty sure it's on every top 100 movies you should see list.
Yeah.
I saw an article, or maybe I read a fact or something about Siskel and Ebert. Roger Ebert said it was one of the few times he's ever been scared in a movie theater.
I think it certainly set a tone for slasher films to come in the coming decade.
Without this movie, you don't have Friday the 13th. You don't have Nightmare on Elm Street. You don't have
More Halloween
more Halloween movies. I mean, you don't have any of that stuff.
Yeah. Well, cool. Halloween, the new Halloween 2018 drops today.
Excited.
October 19th. I'm excited. I wonder where it will go from here. I think Malik Akkad has been talking about or threatening to make a Halloween series, which I think is just a bad idea. But hell, if you get the right people to do it, I mean, maybe, I don't know. But
I don't know about that.
I'm hoping this might be a great chapter to end on. This is the 11th film in the franchise.
Oh, if it makes any money, or if it makes the money I think it's going to, this because I do the fantasy movie league stuff still, and they're only projecting it to do 25 to 30 million. I think it's going to be considerably more than that.
Yeah, I do too.
And I hope so. I'm making my fantasy movie league on it. They've actually broken it up into 3 parts.
Yeah,
which is weird for.
I think it's going to be huge.
I think so too, because they've been advertising the full out of it. all the initial reviews have been positive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's Halloween. I mean, we're at Halloween time. The freaking Hellfest from week before last did decent money.
Well, the best thing about this, it doesn't feel like a cheap Halloween
Money grab.
knockoff.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like that. Like if they were to just make another Halloween movie, it just wouldn't be special. This film feels special.
We've talked about this personally. I don't know. We probably talked about it on the podcast. Danny McBride being involved initially gave me some apprehension, but actually, Preacher has helped that because that's that's Seth Goldberg and the other guy, whoever it is, who are comedy guys, and to see that some of those guys can do scary. And give it a little different perspective is encouraging.
Yeah. Well, David Gordon Green, he's done some comedies, but he's also done a lot of dramas. I mean, he's a very talented filmmaker.
And drama's not far from horror.
Well, and comedy's not far from horror, really. I mean, it's and
They
from what
go
I've heard,
hand in hand.
and they do. And from what I've heard, this new film has got a lot of laughs in it too. That it's not cheesy laughs, but so I'm interested to see how that rolls.
I'll be curious to see how it is.
Yeah,
I hope we get to go this weekend.
yeah. Okay, so where can our listeners find you, Sammie?
For the next 2 weekends, you can find me in the woods of Snow Camp, North Carolina, playing something. Normally the host, but I've actually donned the Jason costume for the first time this year.
Cool.
I've been known to play Michael from time to time. During the weekends I played, I'm outside as the host, but I've played all the iconic characters at some point. So you can find me in the woods at Snow Camp for the next 2 weeks.
Cool. Come on down to the original Hollywood Horror Show, guys. See Sammie at work.
I guess I should tell them where I work at.
What about social media? Where can they find you?
On all the social media at Sammie Cassell, SammieCassell, since I haven't spelled it in a while. And check out Sammie the Comic Book Man on Facebook page. I'm still doing that stuff. I did talk a couple weeks ago. I've got 2 or 3 more coming up this fall.
Very cool. I'm excited about that.
If you want Sammie the Comic Book Man to come visit your kids,
say his name 3 times.
And right now, if you schedule me in the next 2 weeks, I might show up with black mascara on. I went to church homecoming, and Patricia said, "Hey, you got some black makeup on your neck you missed."
Sammie's in the middle of a goth phase right now.
And your eyelashes are really making your eyes pop.
Very cool. Well, you can find us on Instagram at Recover Productions. I'm on Twitter at Hank vs. the Undead. You can always find everything that we're up to at our website, recoverproductions.com.
We should totally do that series some point too.
Yeah.
Puppet Master.
I'm down.
It's one of my favorite 80s movies.
Check out our other podcast, the Carolina Hints podcast, especially if you're looking for something spooky this time of year. Yeah, that's a good show about local hauntings and mysterious stuff. So check us out. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can always email me at recoverproductions@gmail.com. You can find this show on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. So we will be back. The plan is in 1 week for another horror film. And we'll see you then. The evil is gone.